I do this for the dreamers, especially those that look like me, sound like me, show up like me, want to show up as themselves and feel comfortable doing that, knowing that, they won't have to face some of the things that I had to face, right? The more that we can leave a better atmosphere and space for the people that come behind us, the better the world gets. So fortunately, I'm able to serve dreamers. So, that's what I'm a dreamer myself. Like, it just feels right. It feels like I'm doing my best work. So I keep my cool under pressure like a boss. I'm all in, it don't matter what it costs. All I do is win and look good from the top. I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable. I don't have a limit. I don't have a limit. I don't have a limit.
What's up, good people? Welcome to Student Entrepreneur Season 2. I am your host, Zeke Wanganga, and I am so excited to have you join me on this incredible journey. Today, we're diving into the stories of some truly amazing individuals who are shaping the world with their innovative ideas. We'll talk about their stories, their wins, their losses, and on this show, we keep it real, no fairy tales, just real people with incredible companies. I believe that ordinary people like you and me can turn simple ideas into extraordinary things. You see, sometimes the things we think are our weakness, those things that make us different, are actually our superpowers. We just need the right environment to nurture them. My goal today is to create that environment through this conversation. So hopefully I can inspire you, educate you on the steps you take to kickstart your entrepreneur journey. Shout out to KC SourceLink for sponsoring this episode. If you're a business owner looking to find resources to grow your business, definitely go to kcsourcelink.org and get the info. Today, we're talking about an AI tech company that helps businesses become bankable and helps financial institutions make decisions. Today, we have Cyphr. It's a large language model trained to translate financial data into actionable intelligence. Think about OpenAI or ChatGPT for finance. The founder we have here, her journey has been marked by remarkable achievements and notable affiliations, including being a Pipeline Fellow, participation in TechRise Chicago, and Tulsa Techstars Accelerator. Contributions to Grantwalk Magazine, involvement in the Milwaukee Generator Accelerator by Northwestern Mutual, as well as being part of Plug and Play and Visa Fintech Accelerator. And also today, she's part of Launch KC. Help me make welcome the one and only Jannae Gammage. How you doing? Welcome to the show. That was a long resume. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course.
How you
for you, Zeke?
Yep. I appreciate it. So let's go right into it because I know, the audience, they want to hear. Tell us about Cyphr. Tell us what's the company? What do you do? Give it to load. Let's just say I've never heard about it before. I need to know what's happening.
Yeah. We are the SHIT. No. So we, our thesis is that every business deserves access to capital when they need it. That's not the way that it works today. So we created Cyphr to kind of bridge that gap between those that are deploying the capital, whether it be a lender, whether it be a credit card, whether it be Launch KC issuing grants to small businesses. They can access the information right now because of, I'm sure everyone's heard of Plaid, right? Open banking software. So right now, anyone can access financial data. Like there's never been more access, but it's never been messier either. So what we do is we translate that data into something that someone can use to make a decision. So as a lender who's looking at a black and brown founder who they're not used to looking at on paper and the financials are kind of everywhere, as a human, it's very hard for me to understand where this business sits. And it's a reason why there's such a huge gap when it comes to who's being funded or how long it takes to be funded. So we figured out if we could just give them that data in a usable format so that I can look at it and say, hey, I can give this person money. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to do all these extra things. I don't need to talk to you for 2 months knowing that you need money like yesterday. Then we could solve a huge problem. And it turns out we were right.
So my question now is, what kind of business can use Cyphr? Is it startups or mom and pop shops? Who is this for?
Yeah, anyone that uses transaction data. So you as a business owner, you're reconciling your books to turn in your taxes. You don't remember what that transaction from 3 months ago was. You just see that it was an expense. how do I reconcile this so that I know that I'm getting, you know, the most benefit out of my accounting history? So you, a lender who's trying to make a decision about a business to lend to, a payments company, a fintech who is building a bank and wants to be able to lend. Anyone who is using data, like I said, and needs it to be actionable, meaning I need to see this in a way that I can actually make a decision, whatever that decision may be, can use Cyphr to do it.
So I guess my question is, because I know being a tech company, what if a mom and pop shop who don't even know what AI is, like how do they get to be on this platform? Like how do they do this? Is that your target market, or how do you even define that?
Yeah, for now, we're working with the capital deployers. So the companies that are trying to get money into these mom and pop shops. When we're doing a business facing type of platform, it's more to show them their loan readiness. So it's not necessarily to make a decision right now, but if you, Zeke, wanted to go to Bank of America and get a loan, you probably would just kind of show up like, hey, I need money, here's my EIN, and here's a download of QuickBooks. Can I get money? Like, that is the wrong way to show up. It's always great to know how to prepare. And so that's how we can, you know, help small business owners for now. Just getting your loan readiness, giving you an assessment of where you are legally, what someone that is giving you money is going to look at. Being able to have access to that information is where we started for small businesses.
I'm at the top, that's 1, not 2 or 3. This real life, baby, don't make believe. I just make it look easy like ABC. I'm on it 24/7, 25/8. I just pick up the pace and I violate. I eat it all up like a dinner plate.
Hey, what's up, good people? Welcome back to Student Entrepreneur episode. I am your host, Zeke Wanganga. Today we are in downtown Kansas City. We're about to talk to the co-founder of Cyphr, a platform that simplifies the loan process for small businesses and entrepreneurs who are trying to get loans. Right now, it takes about 6 months to get a loan, but with their platform, it's just in minutes. So right now, we're gonna go in and take a tour of their location and also go and see a customer who's actually used the platform to educate you so you can be able to get your loan faster. Because I know you need some loan. I need a loan too. You need some loan? So let's go in and find out. Hi, Jannae, how you doing?
How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for having me in your space.
Of course.
How's your day going so far? Thank you.
Taking over the world.
Yes. I think the cool thing about your company is being able to have a workspace where it doesn't have to be, you know, like the traditional way, kind of make your own space, you know. Tell us the importance of having a location here in Kansas City for you, though.
Yeah, so actually this space was given to us or supplied by Launch KC.
Wow, okay.
So they love the work that we were doing. We needed a space. And I think that's the unique thing about Kansas City. When they see you doing good work, there's other people that are so aligned with that work that they're willing to step in any way that they can for these new startups. So it's been fantastic. We have the space, which I'll show you in a second, here in Plexpot Flash Cube in the financial district. So we're around all of our customers, which are banks and lenders, downtown Main Street, you know, whoop, whoop. I feel like the Jeffersons, like we just moving on up.
Moving on up. Good times.
Yeah. So they supplied this office for us.
Sweet. I think it's so cool too, because everyone I've interviewed from Launch KC, they've said the same thing. They provide a location for you, which I think it's foundational for a company to have a place where you can go find them. You know what I mean? So,
especially with our customers, I can't call a bank CEO and say, "Hey, pay me X amount for my platform," which is hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then say, I'm working out of my house. I need a location that I can bring them to. Exactly. And what's unique about this location is the basement actually used to be a bank vault. So we have meetings in the bank vault. It all comes together.
Yeah,
it's
it gives
really,
you
really cool. Yeah,
the feeling, you know?
Absolutely.
Sweet. So I want to see the whole space. Let's get right into it.
All right, so we'll walk right in here. So this is where most of the team sits. So we have almost 20 employees. 6 of them are Kansas-based, Kansas City-based.
Almost 20 employees. You don't say that. You can't say that quiet now. It's a lot of employees.
I know, right?
I barely have one, so that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It's been a master class in people for me.
Yeah.
Right. So this is where our sales, our customer service, and our product team sits. They get every other Friday off, so they're not here today. But this is their domain. I don't really come in here unless I need a snack, which is the most important part of this office, obviously.
Yeah. Sweet. I definitely want to be able to talk a little bit more about numbers, the percentages, and why this is important, especially the platform B to make it more, make sure it's diverse. So where we at right now?
We are in me and my co-founder's office.
Sweet.
You know, like I said, the Jeffersons.
How you doing?
Get a little help.
Yeah.
Let's say
No.
some customers going, then you can have your own space.
This is
for the two
nice.
lines.
This is.
Yeah, you guys remember
Hey,
Alea?
Leah, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you in your space, in natural habitat, making it happen. Man, this is awesome. So, I know before now we're talking a little bit about the percentages. You know how many Black and brown founders don't get funded. What is that? Give us a little bit more detail on that as well.
Yeah, so currently there's about $14 trillion available for capital for small businesses every single year. About 1.4 trillion of that actually gets deployed because of the problem that we're solving, the loan inefficiencies, ways to deploy capital quickly, and small business owners having that knowledge gap when it comes to applying. So we eliminate all of that for everyone, and that's what it was about for us. Because of that 1.4 trillion that gets deployed, only 7% goes to Black and brown business owners. So it's a really large problem, and I mean, the problem is we just don't look the same on paper. So once we eliminate that paper, right, then we get to the metrics that matter, and we see the business, and we can make a decision in a couple of seconds.
I feel like it's just getting it in the door. Because once you get into the door, they know that you're actually a real person, a real business that actually is ready to work.
Exactly.
It's just that I think, especially in our Black and brown communities, like we are not educated on the financial stuff yet.
Nope.
Especially that first early stage to get you in the door, you don't really know that. But once you have a platform that helps you get into the door, you're set. Because it's a real business.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, even for myself, I never walked into my bank. I went online, I set up an account. After that, I didn't do anything else with my bank. So the expectation that I'm going to walk in and get a loan, I mean, it's very slim, especially if I'm out running my business. I just want to get online, do this.
That. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of banks don't realize that they're competing not with other banks or business owners, but they're competing with Netflix and Amazon and every app that I can jump on and order something in 5 seconds and it's at my house the next day. That's the same experience that small business owners want when it comes to accessing capital, and now they have that. Wow.
I definitely want to be able to because I know you have actual business owner who has used, I think it was Foresight, some kinds of things that's like in Foresight form. Definitely want to be able to go show that after here.
Yeah.
In terms of, because I know I'm at a process of getting some part-time employees. When do you know you're ready, and how do you plan for that scale? Like, how do you, in terms of like, let's say financial projections, how do you, if you can forecast that for someone who's watching, how do you kind of forecast like, hey.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Role. So for me, it's like when you first start out, you wear 100 different hats, right? And I know that most of these hats are really not my wheelhouse. They're not the thing that I am like smart on, but I have to do them to get to the next step. And once I get to an inflection point where I can take a hat and give it to someone else, be able to afford to give it to someone else, and know that it's gotten to a point where I'm actually costing the company money by continuing to do this job, then it's time to bring them in. And fortunately for us, we were able to find these great people who were good at wearing these hats. And so the more that we found these people, the more I was able to loosen the reins and concentrate on the things that I'm actually good at, the things that Alea is actually good at. Then it grows even faster, right? And then now all of a sudden we have almost 20 people.
Sweet. So now we're going to location, but before that, the next thing we're gonna do is talk to Alea on the show. So watch out for that. I'm gonna be right back with a tour with the actual customer who've actually used this platform.
Yes.
So I'm gonna see y'all.
Cool.
Pow. Shout out to KC SourceLink for sponsoring this episode. If you're a business owner looking to find resources to grow your business, definitely go to kcsourcelink.org and get the info. Welcome to the show, Leah. How are you doing today?
I am wonderful. Thank you.
Good to have you in the studio. So I want you just give us a little bit of a background of like how your journey into Cyphr and kind of how that started.
Yeah, sure. So my background is corporate finance and banking. So after I finished my MBA, I spent a little over a decade at Citi, just working in risk, finance, asset management. So that is obviously, it was amazing to have that career. I loved it at the time. I went to school for a long time to have that career, but I just wasn't happy there. I wanted to do something that actually had some meaning, that actually gave me some fulfillment. So I branched out into entrepreneurship. I started to come to events like Keystone, all of these entrepreneurship events, and launched a financial literacy startup for kids, where I was teaching kids 5 and up about money, economics, investments, everything else. So did that for a couple of years, scaled it up into some big partnerships, and ended up exiting that company a couple of years after I started it. And it was really good timing that I ran into Jannae, and she was launching this idea for financial inclusion in financial institutions. So it was perfect.
I think your story and your journey is so unique and cool just because I know that there's a lot of, individuals who work at their day job, but they want to be an entrepreneur, but they don't even know how to start that process. What did you do to be able to go from, working at the finance industry and being able to start slowly start your own company and then going into being part of Cyphr now? Like, kind of walk me through that journey.
Yeah. So for me, it started off as definitely a side hustle. I just surrounded myself with entrepreneurs, with people that knew what they were doing, because I really didn't. Just knew that I had something I was passionate about that I wanted to start. Yeah. But if you don't know how to start these things, you can just work for 4 or 5 years in your house, like never show it to anybody, never make any real progress. And I was lucky that I met people that said, no, you just need to start selling this. You just need to create it quickly and sell it. And so I started doing that as a side hustle and found traction really quickly with parents, with organizations, and got that like initial boost that I needed to be like, oh, I could do this. Like I could, be an entrepreneur full time. So still working my job at that point, and until I could build up that income and know that and really build up the confidence. That was really what it was. Like to know that I could do this and I don't need a full-time paycheck to fall back on. So I think that's the biggest thing is like getting outside of your own head or your own room. Because I'll talk to people that had an idea that's amazing and it's been 4 years and they've sat in their like office or bedroom and like worked on it quietly and not enlisted the community to come in and help them. So I think that's the biggest thing.
So for you, you said being able to kind of build that confidence because, entrepreneurs are crazy sometimes. I mean, I just say this, it takes a crazy person to be able to say, I can do this without no money. For you, how did you grow that confidence for yourself, being able to say, I can actually do this by testing out step by step? What was that like for you? What are some resources you use? Any books you read? What did you do to be able to get you from becoming that person?
Oh my God, I read every book.
Yeah. Talk to me about that. I want to hear that.
I read every book. I read every self-development book, every personal finance book, even though finance was my field, this was still something totally different. I read every book about, what I was launching about to become more of an educational consultant than I was. I just took in so much information, but it wasn't really until I got mentors and other people that would call me and be like, what have you done today? Like, have you made any real progress? Did you read through 3 more books and then not sell this to anybody? Like, it wasn't really until I got that mentorship in that was like, okay, they're going to push me forward and make sure that I'm not just like spinning my wheels and procrastinating and saying that I'm going to take another course or another whatever. So
what was the mentorship? How did you get into the mentorship?
It was actually people in the community. It started with that. And then I did hire a business mentor, and she was crazy. She was in Australia.
Wow.
She was,
Dang.
and I hired, and I loved her, but she was, I actually hired someone that was more expensive than what I could afford because I knew that like I was going to do the work if I had to hire someone and pay her all this money. And it worked. That's what pushed me forward.
So your role as a CEO at Cyphr, tell me about that in terms of when it comes to the finance side of what you do as a company.
Yeah. So since the beginning, the role has kind of shifted. We expected me to be more sit inside of finance. So that originally was internal finance. So all of our forecasting, everything else, handling our money expenses, dealing with vendors, so any contracts we had to go into. And then also being on the product side. So building the actual financial underpiece of the software. So it started out with just that. So it's really finance and product. As we grew, we realized we weren't going to hire a ton of people internally. Like even after you raise money, that money has to go so far. So we realized that I could handle internal operations overall. And so our money could go towards engineers since we're, a software platform. So that makes legal compliance, just all the things fall under my umbrella. So we say that everything internal is me, everything external is my co-founder.
I want to know because, doing my research, even the intro, I talked about how you translate my financial data. How do you translate that into, actionable things for companies or investors to be able to use?
Yeah. So that translation actually started with, so just a little bit about our story. So it started with realizing that business owners really had issues understanding their own finances. They had issues producing the documents that they would need to go and get loans on outside of just understanding their own finances. So whether that's a balance sheet or income statement or just being able to say whether you were profitable this year, people can be really successful but not understand those numbers and not have the accounting in place to really produce those things. So translating that data so that they can produce those, they can qualify for loans, and then outside of that, anybody that looks at financial data can now make better decisions with it. That became just like our guiding star. So we do that using an algorithm that we developed, mixed with some AI to translate the transactions that come through from their financial institution into actionable data. So instead of just getting a series of letters and numbers, we know that this meant you spent X amount on your operating expenses. You truly brought in this amount of revenue. Your cost of goods sold is truly this amount, so that they have a better grip on what their business finances actually look like, and lenders can then see what their business finances actually look like.
So is this something like, I use an app called Found, right? Where, I buy gas, it automatically puts that into my expenses. I pay someone, it automatically puts into my expenses, right? The same thing with, QuickBooks or whatever that is, right? For businesses, is it something like that, or do they have to manually input those things before they go to an investor?
So we're actually avoiding any manual input. We know that anytime the human has to touch the data, that's going to introduce some errors, some bias. So the point of the platform is that we can look at your raw data from your institutions and translate that into something that is accurate and actionable.
Okay. So, because I know for a fact that I'm the worst with numbers and organization, but having a platform that automatically kind of does this and helps me be able to be ready. So I guess my question is, as we go forward into the future, is this going to be like an app, or is it just a platform, or is it embedded with banks? I know your customers are like banks too, who can put it into their system, or would you have your own platform, or is it just kind of an API into different people's kind of system?
Yeah, a platform that will utilize an API. Yep, so that our clients can use it directly.
Okay, sweet. So for you, in terms of where you're helping this technology, where do you see it going? What do you see the future for what you guys are trying to build?
I see it transforming the way that people use financial data. I see empowered business owners. I see empowered decision makers. I see far less of a gap between what you expect to happen and what actually happens. If people can see that this is truly how my business has been doing. If I take out this loan, this is how far it's going to get me, but then I'm still going to run out of cash here. If I just move this little piece, it's going to work this way. When people understand those things, you create empowered business owners that can hopefully stay in profitable businesses.
So for me, right, doing this show, doing interviews, creating a platform that helps immigrants, for me is, if I can at least get 20 people who can be able to find this useful to take action in their daily lives. In that same perspective, like, what is for you a goal that would make your heart be like, you know what, we achieved something for our customers? What does that look like for you?
So for me, for personal experience, I think if we can help people that traditionally aren't able to access funds, that have these amazing business ideas, but without the business knowledge, it just doesn't ever become profitable or scale or anything else. If I can see those amazing people be empowered to build these businesses that grow into empires, to me, that's why we're here. That's why we're building it. So wow. I hope I get to see it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's incredible, just because I always say there's a difference between a startup and a small business. And a startup is being able to scale. And most small businesses don't know how to scale because they don't have the tools. So if this could be a tool that can help them scale into becoming a profitable, more expansive business, I think this would be, an achievable success for your organization. So I mean, thank you for, because I know technical stuff is very important, just because I know there are people who are watching this want to be able to understand the business out of it. How does this work? And for me, I want to be able to understand that for myself too. Anything with AI, it can get kind of, confusing. So just to keep us safe, your AI, when you take data in, there's no harm being done. Why? Okay, so I guess my question is, why is this faster than what's been done in the market right now, and faster and safer than what's been done?
A couple reasons. So the main reason is that everything that's been built doesn't work well. That's it. It just hasn't ever been done well.
Yeah.
And we plan to do it well.
Yes.
So that's the main reason. The other reason is the introduction of a lot of bias in AI, which we know exists. That bias presents itself everywhere, but products like this especially. So when you're evaluating business owners, it's so important to take the bias out, or any kind of data, to take the bias out, because anything from a name to a location can introduce bias that AI picks up on. Yes. And then shifts the decisioning. So we are working very, very hard to make sure that that bias doesn't exist in our product.
Speaking on that, and I think, because I feel that most, especially Black founders or small businesses who don't get funded, is because most times you have to see the person to know, this is actual real deal, this is their story. And most times when banks look at financial statements, like, this doesn't make any sense. But most times the founder story of who they are, is there a way to embed that into the data that you can see something? I don't know if that's even possible. Is there a way to embed the person's thing into there where you can actually see, this is, it could go over here when you give me this? I don't know.
Yeah, it's doing that with numbers. It's painting a better picture with numbers. We're leaving a lot of the founder data out of it just because, like I said, even a name introduces bias.
Yes.
So what happens whenever you can paint a better picture of the business and the business owner? How have they been running this business? How effective are they at managing their capital, at bringing in customers, at making, creating so much with so little? Whenever you have a more holistic picture of that, that's whenever you introduce that founder story in there, in the form of numbers.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Aliyah, for being able to come on and share, kind of your process of how this technology works. I think that's very key, especially with people who are going to be able to go and find this platform and be able to use it, understanding what it does. Yeah. Is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything I'm leaving on the table you want to tell us, or?
No, I mean, unless someone hears our story and just really wants to be a part of it, wants to invest, hit us up.
Yes, please hit us up. Please hit us up. Yes, please. You know where to go. Cyphr. Thank you so much.
Let's go, I'm unstoppable. I got money flowing in case you didn't know. They used to doubt me, now I got them like, wow. Making boss moves, I've been on a roll. I'm blowing up, gotta put them on hold. I am the bag, that's what I've been told.
So we're at the Leia Center, owned by Toya and Joe Mays here on Oak Street, downtown Kansas City. It is a wellness destination. And when I say a wellness destination, the reason I'm saying wellness destination, because whatever you need, they got it. One of my favorite businesses here in Kansas City, and definitely one of my favorite business owners.
Y'all make sure you check it out. We're right here. We're about to go have a wellness experience. So pull up. Beautiful, awesome, wow. How you doing? Good to meet you. I'm Zeke.
You too, Toya.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. You guys have a wonderful space. We're in the Wellness Center. Just give us a little bit of bio, what the space is, and what this kind of represents for you guys.
It represents wellness, full wellness into your entire life. Every part of your wellness journey, we got it covered. So from treatments to supplements, skincare, T-bar, we do it all.
Wow, I'm about to be coming back here because I need me some wellness.
You gotta do the cryo.
Okay, I'm coming back because entrepreneur journey, it's hard, it ain't easy. We need to have our wellness in check. I definitely want to talk a little bit about you guys' history and kind of how you started here, but can we get some tea first and then we can talk? Absolutely. Let's get some tea. So what do you recommend I should get? What should I get?
Obviously the One Love.
One Love? Because it's all love.
Yeah. I mean, and plus that's actually our most popular drink here. A lot of our clients get that. Okay. So we take a rooibos tea and we pull it through the coffee machine like a shot. And then we add in strawberry powder, spearmint leaf, rose syrup, and we do all of our lattes with oat milk. We steam it up for a hot drink, or we'll put it together for an ice drink.
That sounds rich already.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it tastes great and it's true wellness in the.
Oh wait, I'm ready. Let's get some One Love and have a chat. Beautiful. Thank you for the one love. I'm loving it. I'm feeling the love in it, So just give us a little bit of, background of how your business started and how it's gotten to where it is today, kind of that process for us. Because I know small business, it's not easy to have a small business, especially with a shop. So.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so before we opened this place up, I was an NFL veteran. I played in the NFL for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
During that time, I was doing everything in my power to try to stay, available, try to stay on the field so that I can keep my job. And I was taking a lot of pain pills, not really thinking that it was going to do me any harm because I'm thinking it's helping me. I'm able to stay on the field, I'm able to play well, I'm able to play at a high level and do the things that I need to do in order to keep my job. Not really noticing or understanding or realizing that it was doing more damage internally than it was doing more damage than I was able to see. So at the age of 29, once I started paying attention to my tests, when it comes to my brain and body scans, I had the liver and kidneys of a 55-year-old smoker. Yeah, so
Whoa.
high level professional athlete.
Whoa.
I was still pretty young and I have liver and kidney issues. Why is that?
Wow.
It was the pain pills that I was taking that was doing that damage. So a lovely wife, that's where she started to learn more about natural holistic living. She didn't have anyone that she can go to pass along this information. So she had to learn it all by herself, online, studying books, different things like that. So it started out as just, her taking care of us, me, then the family, and then realizing that there's a gap that needs to be filled when it comes to, a lot of other people that needing this type of information, this type of wellness. Yeah. So we figured why not, open up a place where we can help educate and help as many people as we possibly can.
Yeah, wow. So tell me the history of, helping your husband and actually making a business out of it. What was that step? Walk us through that journey.
It was a long, tough journey. But like he said, during my process, I realized that people that look like me especially don't get the opportunity to come into a place, feel loved and nurtured and cared for while getting this information and applying it into their lives. So starting off with keeping chickens and growing vegetables and different things and like changing what we eat and studying herbalism, trial and error with ourselves, see what works. And then just passing along that information and knowing that there needs to be a beacon of light in the community for people to come and feel like they can get all of that and be around people that genuinely care about.
Yeah, wow. And I know that, like I said, I'm definitely coming back. I think the wellness thing is very important. On my show, I talk a lot about how do you, especially as entrepreneurs, deal with stress? How do you reset? Because at the end of the day, we're always on the go because we want to get to the next mission. But I think having a place where you can be able to calm down, reset, and get you some one love is very important, right? So shifting gears to Jannae a little bit about, the financial side of things. So I know as a small business, especially as a Black and brown founder, being able to get a loan or being able to get, it's tough. This is what you're solving. So talk us through that process. What was that like for you using, a platform makes it much more easier for you to be able to get funded?
Using this program was, I feel like, a lot easier than the times we've gone out for a loan in the past, because it's more about the story, somebody coming in and seeing all of this and believing in it, and us telling them where we want to go with it, where we've been with it, and the steps we're taking to expand our footprint. So it's a lot more, I guess I can say, abstract in the way that it's looking at the founder personality, the intricate details of what's in my brain and where I see it going. Yeah.
Wow, that's different, right? Jannae, talk to us a little bit about why that is important, because as founders, it's the story of the founder, because you get to know if the company is going to succeed from who is running it. Yeah. Tell us why that's important.
I think you have to take a step back into the history of lending and Black banks and understanding that it's very biased, and some of these rules that exist today or criteria was actually put in place to prevent Black business owners from attaining a loan. So now that that's started to shift and the government has even stepped in and said, hey, like this, you can't do this, away with the credit score, away with the collateral. We're all starting from different start points, right? Myself, I didn't own a home, that wasn't passed down to me. I couldn't go get a loan at 25 because I didn't have collateral, right? But I've been an entrepreneur since 14, right? So if I would have been able to use a platform like Cyphr and communicate the metrics that matter, not my credit score, whether I own a house or a car or whatever else. I'm working on a business to be able to attain those things. Exactly. So it's backwards, the criteria that was created, and that was on purpose. So now as we shift, we start to see that, okay, look at this beautiful space. Yes. Imagine if there was no capital that they were able to access. Imagine the lives that they wouldn't be able to impact. That's the story for hundreds of millions of businesses, all over the world, right? There's 4 million new businesses every single year, and a majority of them are Black and brown founders. Yet, of that $1.4 trillion that gets deployed into the US for Black businesses, 7% goes to them. So that tells a big story in itself, and I'm glad that that wasn't the story here.
Yeah. And I definitely want to ask this, probably our last question before we go, but I think what you just said, Jannae, is so important, especially also the collateral thing is it's a huge thing, just because even in the immigrant community, like being an immigrant, you usually don't even have, it's not passed down, the wealth is not passed down. Like you're starting from zero. So if you don't have that, that's already, a hunch and a way to get to the next thing. But I want to ask you, why is it so important to get funded? What has that done for your business to get you to the next step?
It's allowed us to, like Jannae said, reach more people, help more people, implement some of those things, those wild dreams that are in your head that we express to people to be able to get the funding in the first place, be able to realize some of those things.
We take good care of our employees too. So we've been able to grow our team a little bit more, bring in the right people to help us continue to, push what we're trying to push, which is, natural is the way to go.
Exactly.
And that's through everything that we do here. So we brought in more people to help us with that goal, and we're just constantly doing more things. So it's a lot more that we're trying to show, and we're just working on it behind the scenes. So stay tuned.
Thank you again, Toya and Joe, for being able to have it in your space. But before we go, we have something for the viewers. Yeah. We have some giveaway for the viewers, because we want people to come and experience this joy we got here. So from Student Entrepreneur, we're giving away 2 gift cards of $20 each, and then we have Cyphr. We're giving out 3 from Cyphr, so that's 5 in total. So look out on social media. We're going to be announcing what we're doing with those. So please watch and go on social media at Fight Up Studios to be able to see this giveaway, and you know what to do. Thank you again for having us in your space, and we'll definitely be sharing this so people can be able to see the goodness you guys have here. So thanks for having us here, and then I'm gonna finish my one love. So I'll see y'all in the next one.
I'm at the top, that's 1, not 2 or 3. This real life, baby, don't make believe. I just make it look easy like ABC. I'm on it 24/7, 25/8. I just pick up the pace and I violate. I eat it all up like a dinner plate.
Sweet. So I guess my question is, in terms of how long did it take you? Because when I hear the business item, like that's such a cool idea, but like no one has ever thought of it. How long did it take you to go from idea to proving the market to actually start a business? What was that process like for you?
Oh my gosh, a long time, years. The thing about tech companies, and the thing that I think a lot of founders don't embrace, is sometimes just moving slow in order to go fast. We did a lot of customer discovery, meaning we spoke to literally anyone we could speak to. It didn't matter where you stood in a process. It didn't matter your experience. If you were in the financial industry, whether that means you borrowed money, whether that means you've reconciled your books, whether that means you've gone and gotten a loan, whether that means you've given loans, whether you are a grant program, whether you are Kevin from freaking Keystone Innovation Center, who's just been around founders. We were just talking to people and having these conversations around the problem. Well, what's your perspective of the problem? What do you think about it? How do you think it could be solved? And just gathering all those data points for at least a year. we were able to hit the market and immediately, pass all of our competitors, the incumbents, and solve the problem in a big way because we really dug in and we understood from every single vantage point what was happening. So when you say, from idea to now, it was a little over 2 years, but we hit the market in the middle of January. Okay. So we've been a product, and that's out of stealth mode for,
So let me ask this, because that approach you took, I think it was very effective. Mm-hmm. But my question to you is, how did you come to that point? Because I knew you've been in business before. Is it something you learned? Because most people they would say, hey, I have an idea. Let me go start a company and I'll figure out from there.
Yeah. I'm a data analyst by trade. I've used that throughout my life in like marketing and sales. I'm all about the data. What does the data say? So I think it was kind of just ingrained in me. It's just my professional, comfort zone around making decisions is I use data. So to get to a decision, you need data, right? So that collection, that's just the way my mind works at this point with any business. I even now running the business, like I need data to make a decision. My gut and instinct has gotten me a long way, but now we're at the point where it's like, okay, what information do I have? What intelligence do I have in order to say yes or no to this thing? So I would say that's truly how
the core of you being able to start that. Mm-hmm. So what did the customer feedback tell you about the problem and solution when you were going through this process?
Really when I was doing the customer discovery, so let's talk about data integrity. It matters what data we were collecting. We weren't collecting data to dig deeper into the problem. We were collecting data to see, is this a big problem? There's lots of problems. There's a problem that this isn't tall enough for me right now to reach this cup, right? So we can put it on some paper and lift it up, but that's not gonna change the world, right? So we knew we were solving a problem. We needed to figure out how big this problem is. So that was our data point. Is this a unicorn, essentially? Because that's our goal. We wanna change the world. We wanna change the industry. We wanna be known. We wanna be synonymous with the Ubers and the Apples and the Stripes and the whomever else that everyone just kind of, you say their name. And I mean, everyone knows what Stripe is, right? But do people use Stripe normally if you're not a business owner? No, but why do people that don't use Stripe know about it? So that's what we were trying to unlock, that type of opportunity. So our customer discovery and those data points we were gathering were pretty much based around that.
Sweet. I like the fact that you said, is the market big enough? The reason why I ask that is because most times you find, the market is 2.3 billion. I want you to help me dive down deeper into from a huge market to this is what we're focusing on. Was that a process for you guys? How did you come down to this is who we're looking at to start with?
Yeah, I leaned into the experiences we had in our team, which was more on the lending and banking side, working with small businesses that looked like us. So really attacking that problem specifically, understanding who wins if we win. So who wins if we give them this software or if we help someone that they're serving so that we don't have to do much work on the front end when it comes to getting customers. And that allowed us to be able to execute very well and very quickly. When it came to the market, we knew, this kind of evolved. We didn't go top down. We went bottom up. So we started with this problem and we just said, how big can this get? And then we realized, holy crap, like the entire financial industry has this problem. Yeah. Great. Now we are a Stripe.
The reason why I asked this question is because, I had to go through the same process because I've been doing research about a platform that helps immigrants, right? So I had to go and do customer validation, ask, is this a thing? And I think that's what most founders miss out on is I have this big idea. Let me go do it first before I figure out if it's a problem. Mm-hmm. And I think your route is the reason why you're successful. It's the reason why you've raised 1.5 million so far. 2 million so far. 2.5 million. $2.5 million so far. And we'll get to that. But that's a reason because of that, because you know what the problem is and how to solve it, right? Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask this. What is your revenue model? Who pays you money for this platform? How does that work?
Yeah, for now, the institution. So we went to market serving lenders. They are our customers, the banks, the alternative lenders, the Fintechs, anyone deploying that capital.
For me, it's, so does the user itself, or is just fintech companies? You say just fintech companies that pay you money, or is there a part of the small business owner that pays money to the platform, or how does this?
No, so a small business owner goes to AltCap, which is a customer here in Kansas City, and they click apply for a loan, and it takes them to a white label version of Cyphr.
All right, going in that same line of being able to understand your market and your business, what are some common mistakes that are made in the industry that your technology solves for them?
Oh my gosh, I think the most important, and it's all about perspective on whether it's a mistake or not, is giving up too soon. Specifically on an applicant that's maybe harder to understand, and again contributes to this gap when it comes to minority business owners getting access to capital. I don't understand your business, too much work, on to the next application, which is the wrong answer, but unfortunately it is something that is happening today.
So I guess to dig a little bit deeper, because you mentioned small businesses, right? Because I think this is your core passion, being able to make sure that people who are not seen are seen on your platform and being able to be investable, take that step-by-step guide. And I appreciate that, because I'm gonna be coming on that platform soon, because I'm gonna need it. I need some of that funding.
Me too.
We all do. But let me ask you this, dig deeper into that. Like, why? Who do you do this for? What's the why of Jannae starting a company that's going to impact the world? What is the why? Who do you do this for?
I do this for the dreamers, especially those that look like me, sound like me, show up like me, want to show up as themselves, and feel comfortable doing that, knowing that, they won't have to face some of the things that I had to face, right? The more that we can leave a better atmosphere and space for the people that come behind us, the better the world gets. So fortunately, I'm able to serve dreamers. So, that's what, I'm a dreamer myself. Yeah. Like, it just feels right. It feels like I'm doing my best work. So, yeah.
That's really powerful. I'm a dreamer too, right? The reason why I ask that is because I feel like there's an importance of digging deeper into like why you do who you do it for. Most times people ask me like, why do you do interviews? Why do you want to talk to entrepreneurs? What's that important? And for me, it was always, as a kid growing up in Nigeria, I always saw a finished product. I would watch Hollywood. Everything was pretty much finished. I was always wondering like, who are the people that built this? Like, who made this? Like, how does that process go? And I couldn't connect the dots. My goal was always to find out how the pieces come together. Yeah. What is that process like? Because I think in the process is where you find the beauty, the passion, like the zeal. And for me, sitting here, I want to be able to find that in people, like what keeps entrepreneurs moving to be able to accomplish this goal. Yep. In that same sense, in that same regard, do you want to do a segment on the show?
Do I want to toast to my to
our sponsored
good buddy,
segment?
Joshua L. Lewis.
Let's toast or cheers. Toast cheers.
Well, cheers.
For the folks.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
It pops. It does pop.
It's overflowing right now.
Cheers to those who do it for.
Yeah.
For the folks. You gotta tap it.
Start over.
All right, start over.
Boom.
Blooper.
Tap. Thank you.
And then we drink. Now, this is my favorite, by the way. So I want to ask you this. I know, being in the tech industry, you probably heard this question a lot about, interviewing about as a Black woman industry. How do you navigate that question? Does that validate your experience? What do you think about that? I know, and yes, that's why I was like, how does that make you feel? Does that validate, or has it become repetitive for you to hear those questions?
I think it's very important to ask the question. So I don't want that to get lost. It is very important to ask that question. It is very important to have that answer publicized all over for everyone to see. Where it gets tricky is when it's the only question you ask. I'm tired of it being the only question. There's so many more layers to who I am as an individual and a founder, and my entire identity is not built up in being a Black woman in tech. I am just a Black woman in tech. Like, that is just a thing. Like, it's not who I am. So, and there's not a lot like me, so I understand. I just want to make sure that we understand it's not the most important question that you should be asking a Black founder, a Black female founder.
What questions should they be asking?
What is this PG? This show PG?
Hey, we can bloop it out, but just be real with me, because that's what I'm saying. Like, on the show, this is the real thing. Like, we're trying to talk about real conversations because, it's easy to go over the facial stuff, but let's dig deeper and actually what goes on behind the scene. Like,
and that's really what that question is. When someone says, "What's it like being a Black female in tech?" What they're really saying is, what bullshit do you have to deal with because you're a Black woman in tech? That's the real question. And then, unfortunately, because it's this, politically correct question, and you get politically correct answers. And I think that might be actually what really grinds my gears about the question, because if we're being real, like, it sucks to be a Black woman in tech. And that's not my entire experience. It sucks to be a founder, period. And I don't want to take away from my white male counterparts, my white female counterparts, Black male counterparts. It just sucks to be a founder. It's a pendulum swing. Some days are up here, some days are down. And it's just going back and forth. There is no way around it. And I think that people don't understand that, we're kind of built for this just because of the adversity we face just as humans outside of being a founder and entrepreneurship. It's kind of in that struggle. I hate to say it, it's just like in our DNA at this point. And instead of that being seen as a strength, it's like almost used to hold us back. So I want it to be known that being a Black woman in tech does suck. I also want to caveat that with being a Black woman in tech is actually a strength, because we are literally built for this. We are literally built for the struggle. We are literally built for the adversity that comes with being a founder and dealing with just all the things we'll say right now. So when we're asking that question, I challenge you, the interviewers and whomever else, to dig deeper into what you're truly asking. What's it like to be a Black woman in tech? It sucks. All right, next question. Like, really, really pick that apart and figure out what you're trying to, ascertain about that role in entrepreneurship.
So my next question, and I'm gonna preface it like this, because I feel like, especially, being a Black entrepreneur, you get into spaces where you're the only one there. And you are being perceived a certain way just because you stepped into the room. And then you have to either adjust or show out like yourself. How do you show up authentically yourself?
I just do. I mean, add another layer for me, we sell to banks, which traditionally the person I'm on the phone with is older, is a different color, and is a male that was raised in a different age. And I'm asking them to give me $50,000 minimum. So there's already some bias with giving that amount of money to anyone, right, that you don't know. So, I mean.
Deep stuff, real stuff.
Yeah, I think so. One, I'm Black, I'm masculine presenting, I'm LGBT. I had to get over that hump of trying to show up as something that I'm not. It's not authentic. It's very easy to tell when someone's not being authentic. And I actually think it's gotten me a lot further because they know that I don't care. Like, this is me and I love who I am. It took a long time to get to that space. And nothing is going to divert me. I've actually had, very realistic conversations with my team, even with just like hiring, as we scale up and we have to think about sales and just knowing that like I'm the first face that a customer sees. Is that going to be, are we going to continue to do that? Like, could that affect sales? And it's an unfortunate conversation, but it is the reality. And I hear a lot of Black founders that I've spoken to that feel like that's not showing up authentic anymore if you shift. And I get it, but also like you have to understand the world that you're living in, right? And you can't fight someone's bias. Like, it is what it is. You're either going to get to the next level or you're not. And you can, if you're comfortable staying in a certain space because you're 100% authentic And I'm not going to change anything about my company, speaking about mine, but I'm not going to change anything about my company. It'll be me that shows up on the first call. If you don't buy because I'm a Black woman, then shame on you. Cool. But like I said, we're going to be, unicorn, and that it is what it is. It's the reality. So I know my customer and I know them well, right? We did a year of customer discovery. I know who they trust, and 50% of them don't trust me. And that's just the reality.
Speak on that. So I think there's one thing I learned from Joshua Lewis, which I took to heart. He probably doesn't know this, but I think he had a statement on the stage where he was like, he kept showing up in the same spaces and the same people. And for me, I was at a point where I was showing up in the same places, same people. And I wasn't really adding any value. I was just there to be there. I was just there to be there.
Yeah.
But then I had to find out, what value do I actually bring to the space? Yeah. And until I did that and stepped out of that space and figure out who am I in this space? And then you begin to people begin to shift away, go away, because you're not realizing where you stand in things, right? Yeah. And then that also comes down with you telling your story authentically, right? With that, I want to ask you, how do you tell your story? Because I know you are an amazing storyteller, which is why you've been able to be so successful. Like, you're able to tell the story to the point. That's the most important thing. It's not telling an elaborate story, it's being able to be precise. How do you tell a story to make it effective to whoever is listening in terms of you pitching yourself and who you are as a founder?
Yeah, I want to thank you for that. That was really nice.
Most
thank
definitely.
you.
Most
You're
definitely.
the storyteller here, so thank you. That means a lot coming from me. And people have that perception of me. I've pitched a lot. I knew it was a strength. I went out and I used that to raise money. I think we brought in like almost 200K just from me pitching, pitch competitions and things like that. So I want to make sure that there's context behind that, because people will think she's special, she's done something. I want to say that before I went full-time into entrepreneurship, I was in the military, data analyst, 10 years. I had to pitch every single day. Okay. So restate that.
What? Because I think when people see you winning for the past 4 years, they think you've been doing it for just 4 years.
What?
Talk about.
I don't think that.
I ain't even playing around, because like people who don't know who are not in the industry might say, "How are you moving this quick, this fast?" Talk about that. 10 years. Speak on that.
I've been an entrepreneur since I was 14. Okay. But as far as pitching, I did that every day. I had to pitch the data to the commander so that he can make decisions with it. Literally what I'm doing now. I had to pitch that data in real time and tell him what decision to make. So it wasn't like a problem, solution, market, whatever type of pitch, but I was pitching for 5 minutes in front of the entire battalion every day, right? Especially when we were overseas. Now I'm pitching what the enemy's doing, whatever. Either way, it's a pitch. So I did have that experience. I didn't wake up and discover some secret sauce and just go out and raise hella money because I can pitch. No, that was repetition.
How many times have you pitched? Give us a number.
How many times have I pitched?
How many pitches have you done? Give us an average. Just give us a ballpark.
Like startup pitches?
Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to say. Pitches, startup pitches. Just give us a ballpark.
Startup pitches, at least 100.
Oof.
Pitches, period, meaning briefing someone on something. Thousands. 10 years of pitches and then being an entrepreneur.
More than 1,000.
Yeah, probably.
Because it took that. Because I feel like every single time you say something, you find a better way to say it or do it.
Correct.
So you keep
lots of refinement. Yes. That is actually the skill that I have. It's not the pitching. It's taking in feedback in real time. It's knowing like this outline of my pitch and understanding who I'm speaking to by asking a couple questions and then shifting my pitch in real time. That is my skill.
Speaking on that same pitching to different organizations, pitching to different pitch competitions, what are some resources have you've used in the metro or in Kansas or anywhere to be able to kind of take you from one thing to play you find all these pitching or resources you've used locally that has helped you be able to get to where you are?
What? I'm a one-man show. No. God, Kansas City has so many resources. Let's see. Just outside of network, like individuals who are, the masters of their one thing that contributed to us. I'm going to obviously launch KC.
And we'll get to launch KC, by the way.
Okay. Pipeline. my co-founder. I'm gonna double down on pipeline.
So let me ask you, so Launch KC, we're here, Launch KC. How has that been going? How did you get into Launch KC? Why did you get into Launch KC? And how was that for you?
Why did I get in? I don't know, ask Becca and Tommy.
You know, that's what Becca told me. Why did she get into Launch
Yeah,
KC?
I'd like to know why. Appreciate you.
But why did you choose Launch KC to apply and being able to get into that program, and how's it going?
I liked the mission. I liked, one, just where we are in where we were in our trajectory when we applied. We wanted to bring in another person. We wanted them to be KC based. I figured, all right, well, that is the goal of KC, more jobs. We just need the money to pay this payroll. Like, it was just, but also I knew that it wasn't traditional programming. So I've done some programming all over the nation, some of the best. I didn't want to be butt and seat learning about a financial model. I think I was a little bit past that. I think the best programs are those that support a founder with relationships. From now that I've done so many, the financial modeling and the founder stories I shouldn't be drinking this, are great. But relationship, oh my God.
Keep going.
Relationships that's where the gap is for founders. So a program that can really double down on that and do that well is going to be the program that shines. Launch KC is that program. So that is why it was important for us to be involved.
Beautiful. So let me ask you this. Looking back in your journey, entrepreneur journey, what is something you think wish you had known that would have helped you go a lot more faster, a lot more further where you are today, that would have helped you a bit more in the past if you had known this thing, or something you wish you knew?
I think I knew a lot about entrepreneurship and how to get things done. I wish I knew a lot more about me when I first got started. It would have helped me avoid some very costly mistakes. And, I burned some bridges just doing the wrong things that I wish I wouldn't have. And it was literally just a lack of knowledge of self and how I show up in spaces and how I make decisions and my weaknesses and things like that. So I wish I would have worked on that a lot sooner. Probably would have gotten a lot further, a lot faster, with a lot more help.
Sweet. Speaking on that same note, what are some tough insecurities you've had?
Some insecurities?
You've had in the business, or that you have worked on that has helped you, being able to, I stepped over this because I learned this about myself and I had to improve that. Or some insecurities you had in the past that you even know became strengths of yours because you were so afraid of it.
Haven't you heard that most entrepreneurs have a little bit of narcissism? You want me to pick an insecurity? I don't have that. No.
There's a little bit of truth in that.
There is. You have to, though. You have to have some level of narcissism.
Yes.
Stop denying it. If you are a founder saying there's no way I'm a narcissist, you are just a little bit, just because you are willing to do what you are doing. You have enough confidence in self to do this bold and audacious thing. That is narcissism at its finest. You have this belief that no matter what anyone tells you, are right, and you are. Anyway, we won't get into psychology today. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Don't use it to hurt people and you're fine. Man, I think my insecurity, it goes back to when we were talking about showing up as my authentic self. I had like this fear of being judged for a while. And I also had this fear that whether I, showed up as myself, regardless, like I didn't want to affect my team because someone judged me. And so that was like an insecurity. I think it was more about how I show up doesn't just affect me. And like, if I'm fine with it, it doesn't mean that everybody else is fine with it, which in turn by proxy is affecting the people that have pretty much, put everything on the line for this dream that I have. So I felt like it was just a lot of responsibility on my shoulders for them. And I didn't want to somehow, some way, just by being me, kind of interfere with that or interfere with our growth or our success. Just because I'm fine with it doesn't mean, so that was an insecurity until I just said, whatever. You sign up, you see me. You're here.
Not to dig in deep into the narcissist thing, but do you think that the amount of times you are, someone doubted you and you said this is right and you actually proved it was right, do you think that increases narcissism in entrepreneurs and founders?
Ooh.
Do you think it does?
I know it does for me because low key, no, seriously, low key, and this is the real that he talking about. Low key, like we had a lot of people in the beginning of our journey because this is a big thing, right? So when we had nothing, it's very easy to jump on board now. We have all the making.
Everything kind of makes
sense.
Sense.
Like we're good. You know what I'm saying?
It's looking like a Mona Lisa.
Yes, but in the end, I mean, in the beginning, it's like,
just pain and like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And a lot of them, like, and so many other words were like, prove it. Don't believe you. Don't believe you're going to do that. Don't believe you can do that, whatever. So then back here, whenever we do something, I'm like, what you say? Like literally, yes. I know LinkedIn is it's supposed to be professional, but sometimes I want to go on there because they all follow me. Like, remember y'all said prove it?
Yeah. Where we at
Here
now?
We are.
What's
proving it.
No,
that's narcissism a little bit.
No, I'm with you though, right? Because it's like, so for me, it was more like, hey, you couldn't do a show and that be the thing you do. And here we are, we got a bunch of sponsors, we got Kaufman on board, and this is like 4 years into it. Where you at though, right? It's like, you know what I mean? But professionally though, right? But it's like, you get to a point where you believe in something so much, people tell you no so many times, but you have to prove them that, hey, I got this going on, right? But it's, hopefully it doesn't feel any more narcissistic, whatever thing. But I feel that as an entrepreneur, you get to a point where, you just got to keep going because you believe in it so much that it's the only thing you want to do. And there's nothing else that makes sense. Whatever you're saying doesn't matter, right? So tell me this, and this is just for our viewers out there. What is one advice you would give to a viewer out there who is trying to get an entrepreneur or trying to, leave their day job and start something? You would tell them for just a step they could take in terms of what advice would you give them? Because I know for a fact that they're gonna get money for a while, but that's just known. Stone industry ain't no money for a while. You
know what? That's not true. You may not get venture capital for a while or sponsors or partnerships for a while. You have to be able to be resourceful, one, but the first thing that I did is I understood the game. I understood the reality that I was in, that I wasn't going to get venture. All BS aside, I'm a Black woman, LGBT, saying that I'm building a large language model. People are going to say, yeah, right. Got it. So for me, it was like, well, let me understand the landscape. Let me go find other ways, alternative sources of capital. I'm not going to get a loan. But there's money out there. It's finding it. And when I was pitching, I wasn't pitching like I was pitching to a VC. I found who won if we won. Who wins by giving me this money? Like, who looks good by giving me some money or being one of my early supporters? Great. It's mutually beneficial. And I think a lot of founders think that that's not the game. But it absolutely is the game. They're giving you money because it either improves their narrative, because they want to be able to say they were involved in the early stages, because they want to just be involved in something big. Like, figure it out. It is mutually beneficial. You have to figure out why it would be beneficial for them to give you money. These pitch competitions, they're not. These pitch competitions are great. They're all over. $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, whatever. There's somebody behind them though who gave them that money and said, "This is how you need to deploy it." They're the face, and you may think that, "Oh, I'm going to a pitch competition for small businesses, and it's sponsored by Hy-Vee." Okay, Hy-Vee is looking for a company that they can put on their shelves, and that's who's going to win that pitch competition. Doesn't matter how good your idea is. So truly understanding the game was where I started. I'm not going to go pitch at a Hy-Vee pitch competition, which I'm saying that one because that was here in Kansas City. You see who won that? Someone that they could put on the shelves. And guess who was on the shelves? The winner of that pitch competition. Like, it is all for benefit. I want to put someone on. I want PR. I'm a big company. Do a pitch competition. You guys do it. Keystone, you guys do it. Because you know the founders, right? And they trust you. They don't know Hy-Vee. So that's the stuff you gotta, who is this sponsored by? For real. Because they have it. Put on by City of Entrepreneurs, sponsored by Kaufman. That's access to capital.
That's access to capital. So in that case, I have another question that I'm gonna bring in, but in that case, is that how you find who you pitch to? Is that how you, for you? That was
my strategy.
Okay, being able to make sure that who you're pitching to, the person or the company behind it actually fits your thesis or what you're looking to be able to improve it.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Pitch competition sponsored by banks. That's me.
That's incredible. I hope the viewers are hearing this. I want to remind you of something. The first episode we had, you said something to me, and I didn't forget it. Yeah, it was. Remember, we were at the Plex Spot. Remember, this was like a while back. A while back. But you said this, that the people who are invested in companies need companies.
Yes.
They need us. We don't need them. Speak on that again, because I think that was so valuable that I never forgot it.
Yeah. There's no venture capital without companies to invest in. Venture capitalists raise money just like we do. They raise it from limited partners, which are whoever it may be, a big organization, Hy-Vee, Bank of America, family offices, whomever, high net worth individuals. They give that to venture capitalists to go out and make their money multiply. So a venture capitalist's job is make their money multiply. If they don't have anything to invest in, they can't do their job, and they are no longer a VC. So I think understanding that this is an ecosystem and not a give-take transactional type of thing will get you a lot further, because your entire strategy will be different. The way you show up in meetings, the way you build your company will be different, because now you know they are looking at you as a business opportunity, right? They're giving you money, but you are a business opportunity for them to be able to go back and return this money that they received. And they have a certain amount of time to do it.
Yeah. I want us to shift gears just a little bit. So a little bit of a short story. So in 2018, while I was an international student, my dad passed away, right? It was a very tough time for me. Thank you. It was a very tough time for me. But at the same time, I was struggling with almost being deported. I was trying to pay tuition. I was there's all these things going on with my life at the same time. But in the midst of that, I was still able to know that, these things is happening, but at the same time, I gotta manage business. I gotta be on business. I gotta be in school. I gotta be able to find funding, right? For you, how do you navigate personal relationships, like, death in the family or breakups? How do you manage that, the mental stress of that with being a business owner and a founder?
Yeah, I'm kind of going through that right now. I just got back from emergency leave for my dad. So it's compartmentalized. I mean, luckily I did do 10 years in the service. So I think my brain now has kind of adjusted to being able to compartmentalize different things that are going on. But also, even though I spend the most time, my thoughts spend the most time with Cyphr on a day-to-day basis, I don't see this as me. Like, I don't see this as the only part of me. And I try to put as much effort and time into everything so that I don't just become CEO of Cyphr, So when other things happen, I'm able to divert attention. I was able to say, I'm taking a week off. You guys got it, hopefully. If you don't got it, oh well, we'll figure it out when we get back, because this is important. We're individuals, we're human beings. Managing stress is hard no matter what you do, 9 to 5 or not. Like, I try to see the good in it though, because I was able to say, I'm done, I'm out of here. It was actually 10 days. I'm out of here. With a 9 to 5, they would have been like, I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. You don't have that much leave left. So you need to be back in 3 days, not 10. So like that is the benefit. And that's what I try to keep front of mind is that there are pros and cons. Like it does all depend on you, but you also have the ability to say, no, it doesn't depend on me today or tomorrow or next week. It depends on you. I'm going to go handle this. Or my relationship is breaking down. And if I don't put more time and effort towards this relationship and at least get it to 50-50, right now I'm putting 90% towards my company and 10% towards my partner.
It's going to affect everything.
So this needs to be flipped. So what do I need to do? I need to backwards plan and reverse engineer how I can put more time over here, because time as an entrepreneur is literally your biggest asset. Where you put that time, that's where, you're going to see the most benefit, where things around you are going to flourish. So what's important to you? Is it important that your company flourishes above everything else? Put all your time there.
I always think, there's not enough 24 in a day to do everything you want to do.
Ever.
But there's always enough 24 to do what is more important to you, right?
Yes.
In that same note, right? What are steps you take in being able to recenter yourself? Like, what are some steps you take to be able to get yourself back into that, like being all centered? What things do you do for yourself?
Travel, changing my environment. Because I don't usually take a lot of time off unless it's something like, my dad. But when I do need that reset, I'm going to go work from somewhere else. I'm going to leave Kansas City. I am going to change it up because that is something that I have control over. I can't control the fires I have to put out every day, the people I have to talk to, the customers I have to sell to. But what I can control is what it looks like around me, which I know can kind of like center me, affect my mood and how I think about things. It also allows me to kind of clear my energy so that I can think better and get more use out of my time. So that's really my thing. It's always been my thing. I don't know if you remember, I went and traveled for a while because I needed a real reset.
No, I agree with you on that because, I recently went to Nigeria for like 3 weeks.
I saw.
And when I was out there, man, the nice weather, working outside, running, coming back, I was so energized. Like I was like, I hit the ground running. I did so many things. I was the most productive I've ever been in like 8 years, right? Yep. But that's important. That reset was so important to stay away from all the chaos for a little bit. And then now I'm back into the chaos. It's so chaotic.
You'd be surprised what breaking up that monotony will do.
It will do a lot. Your brain resets. Like it's just refresh. You have so many ideas and you like, wait, I didn't even know this existed then, right? Yep. Man, this has been such an inspiring, really good conversation, deep dive conversation. Before you go though, I really want to ask you this. What's the future for Cyphr? What are you guys trying to achieve in the next coming years? What are you trying to do? Where are things at?
Yeah, we're trying to shift the industry, honestly. I think, whether it's us, whether it's someone else, it better be us, but whether it's someone else, this is a problem that should have been solved and could have been solved a long time ago. And COVID kind of brought it to light and, people didn't do it because it was expensive or it really takes a lot of work. Like it really, really does. It's hard. And so far we've been the only ones that have tried to truly conquer it in this way. But I hope that it influences a shift in the industry. That is our North Star, is that businesses have access to capital when they need it. Whatever that looks like and however it's done, that's the goal, that we shift the industry to where that is a reality. And we'll just continue with our heads down and building the next generation of that.
Wow. Well, like I said, I'm going to be hitting you guys up real soon because I'm going to need that funding. So put me on that list. Just whenever my name comes up.
We don't have any money.
I just put me on the list.
We have a little money. We have more money than most Black women have raised.
I mean, $2.5 million, that's a lot of money. But what I'm saying is, though, when you put that app AI, just tell AI, though, if you see Zeke in there, he's my boy. He's my boy. Just go ahead and give him whatever he needs.
Train the model with a little bias for Zeke.
Whatever
obviously.
he needs, just give him whatever he needs. He know what he's doing. That's all I'm saying.
We'll make sure you
But thank you so much, Jannae, for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your experience and just sharing your thoughts and sharing your journey, because I think that's important. Because, I always believe each one teach one. And this show exists because we want to be able to talk to real entrepreneurs and, find out their challenges, how they go through life and being able to build a business. And hopefully someone out there can learn from it and start businesses, and become the next unicorn. So thank you so much.
Right on.
And
Storytelling as a service.
and we
Book them.
let's go. Thank you so much.
Book them.
All right. Y'all know what to do. Subscribe, share. I'm going to see you guys the next time. I don't know what to say. Boy, your boy Zeke, I'm out. I'm going to see y'all. Pow.
I don't have a limit. I don't have a limit. Pick up the pace.